Autophagy is where the body heals from the inside of the cells out. It's where those who are metabolically sick need to aim for. It's where patients who've tried everything actually lose weight. So let's do it. Let's get autophagy working. First, you need to measure it by calculating a GKI. This glucose ketone index is the closest we have to actually measuring autophagy. To do that, you'll need to measure your blood ketones and your blood glucose. In using American metrics, I took the big number and divided by the little number and called it a Dr. Boz ratio. I teach patients about autophagy with this chart. If your DBR is greater than 100, you're likely not in autophagy. But if you can get that number less than 80, you've got a pretty good chance. If you get it less than 40, we have a lot of confidence that you are finally in autophagy and sweeping out the trash inside those cells. Getting into autophagy takes a commitment. Hitting a DBR in that autophagy range one time will not restore you to health. You need to get there more consistently. If you've ketoed for longer than a hot minute, you know that those ketones naturally drift back down to less than 0.5 the longer your body adapts to this new way of eating. And as with any fraction, you're going to see a much lower or healthier DBR the higher that denominator is. Said another way, as your ketones slump to a lower level, so do your chances of autophagy. This attrition is normal, but irritating. It's also the hidden reason those broken metabolisms stall out from improving their health. So when are you going to hit a Dr. Boz ratio that has autophagy? Well, it depends on your system. It depends on how ill your mitochondria are. But lowered levels of glucose are the key components to having robust ketones. And I've had some patients reach for the extreme and stop eating for up to a week before their blood glucose finally dropped to a level where they made respectable ketones. Don't do that. So here's what I tell patients. I'm going to start with a rather healthy patient and compare them to someone who has insulin resistance. So let's take Ricky. Ricky is 22 and is prepping for his wedding. He needs to shed some pounds for that wedding day, and we both know his metabolism isn't as strong as it used to be. He starts the protocol, drops his carbs to 20 total grams per day, and he makes a flood of ketones. This metabolism is robust, young, and healthy because he's only a few years into abusing his metabolism. Tammy, on the other hand, is in her mid-50s, and she kind of lost the genetic lottery. She has had triple negative breast cancer. This has been on top of insulin resistance, and she has lots of warning signs that her metabolism is not doing great. Tammy has been to this protocol a couple of times, and despite her advanced insulin resistance, she knows the rules and follows that protocol perfectly. But you would never know by looking at her numbers. It looks a little hopeless. She is several days into this low carbohydrate diet, and her blood sugars have not dropped below 100. It wasn't until we pushed her protocol to a 72-hour fast. Denying food for 72 hours did some magical things behind the scenes. It sparked growth hormone, increased her norepinephrine, and induced autophagy by the end of that fast. If she only visits that protocol once, she will not advance her metabolism into the healthy zone where Ricky is. Several weeks into this protocol, where she denies food except for salt, water, and black coffee for 72 hours, she finds the success that Ricky was having. Now, when she stops eating, her blood sugars drop within 36 hours. And although that may sound like a long time to the rest of you, this is a powerful sign that her mitochondria are getting healthier. Each time she denied food for that 72 hours, she not only hit autophagy, she also swept out a bunch of broken mitochondria and replaced them with fresh ones. As she did that, she got to depend on those new mitochondria for up to 6 weeks. The first week she did that 72-hour fast, she hit autophagy for a hot minute before she started eating again. By the second, third, and fourth week, she was in a solid zone of autophagy at the 36-hour mark. We now know that her returned metabolism will carry her as she continues to repair her injured body. But I'll tell you, she needed some heavy tools to get this protocol figured out. This workbook guided her and many of my patients. Don't skip the steps. Use it as a life guide. I'll see you there.